Okay, what's going on, everybody? JV Wins is here. Dogon SS is here. Conscious Approach on the YouTube channel is live on March 21st. We appreciate everybody for tuning in as always. Before we get started with this week's commentary, as I always like to do, want to kick things off by first of all saying thank you to all of our new subscribers who have continued to join this little cool little community that we got over here in the corner of YouTube over the course of the last couple weeks. We certainly appreciate everybody for joining. And for anybody who has not done so, if you happen to catch one of this video, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Go ahead and like the video, leave a comment, let us know what you think about these topics. We certainly acknowledge those comments as we continue to grow the community. So we appreciate you support logical content, as we always like to say. As you can see the ticker going across the bottom of the screen, we have a current goal of getting to 1,000 subscribers. And so we appreciate everybody who is contributing to that goal as we continue along on this journey. So with that out of the way, man, we were talking about this before we went live on the stream, but we have had consecutive weeks of just fire breathing content. Some of it so much so that it had to get left on the cutting room floor and had to wait for the following week. But we got some good stuff this week, man. So interested to have this conversation, interested to talk about this, and interested to see what the people who are a part of the tribe have to say about these various topics. But first things first, and we're gonna kick it off talking about Ciara. So Ciara was trending heavily the weekend of the Academy Awards because she wore this revealing see-through type dress to the Oscars. She was joined, of course, by her husband, Russell Wilson. And her outfit of choice made a lot of waves. It had a lot of people talking. And I think, it was people on both sides of the aisle, people saying it was too much. And then there were people saying, stop complaining. She looks good. What y'all complaining about? And then there's also the collateral damage that Russell Wilson incurred due to the fact that she decided to wear this dress, which is what it is. I think at this point, Russell Wilson is just going to be collateral damage damn near for anything that Ciara does these days, even if it doesn't really warrant him being introduced into the conversation. But be that as it may, a couple things that we want to share in order to sort of preempt what we are going to talk about with Ciara. First thing that I'll do here is I'll share this tab, and this tab is from so there's Elle Fashion, Elle Magazine. Elle, of course, has a website, and they published a story in which they delved into Ciara posting a response video claiming that people mad about her dress is selective outrage. So I'll read this real quick first, and then we'll go ahead and actually see what Ciara put on her TikTok. So this article from Elle says Ciara talks about the selective outrage over her see-through dress. On Sunday, March 12th, pop star Ciara attended the Vanity Fair Oscars party with her husband, Russell Wilson, and she was wearing a gorgeous cross-hatched gown by Dundas with a pair of Santoni high-heeled shoes. The dress was made of black sheer material and studded with jewels, hugging to every curve it didn't reveal. The sheer look has been quite popular on the red carpet and fashion runways this year. In fact, quite a few people wore similar styles to the event. Alessandra Ambrosio, hope I'm saying that right, wore another sheer Dundas gown, for example. So this is going down the list, showing other celebrities who have worn similar type dresses. So clearly Ciara is not alone. This is a thing that a lot of these celebrity female actresses are doing. Some of these aren't necessarily see-through gowns, but are quite revealing nevertheless. So here's another actress here. I'm not going to even pretend to pronounce this girl's name. Here is another dress that Zoe Saldana wore. You can clearly see her breast there. And then the copy continues. Though some of these stunners were applauded for their style, none seemed to cause the controversy Ciara's dress did. Her name was quickly trending on social media, and she seemed to receive a great deal of criticism for flaunting her amazing physique. On Thursday, the singer responded to the fervor around her dress with a jokey TikTok about the situation, along to a soundtrack that sounded like paparazzi calling for her attention. She walked an imaginary red carpet while wrapped in a white bed sheet, swirling it around and striking a pose for the cameras. Selective outrage, she captioned the funny video. Her husband seemed to have no issue with how his wife was dressed on the real red carpet and even went shirtless underneath his black suit for the evening. Not that Wilson has to not that what Wilson has to say about her style matters as much as Ciara's own clothing choices, but it's good to have a husband who is also your biggest fan. Blah blah blah. So clearly the author of this article is a woman. But so now I want to share the actual TikTok that Ciara put out there.
Yeah, and by the way, YouTube, if there was some sheer covering there, that is sheer covering. So we're covering fashion there. So no age restrictions here. All right, that was all.
I don't think that. Well, when I set this stream up, they make you select whether this clip is for kids or not. So we're good. YouTube put those little.
Bro, trust me,
they'll still block it.
Yeah.
I hope not. They shouldn't, because that filter is supposed to,
No. I'll tell you offline.
Okay. All right. So yeah, here we go. Here was Ciara's response. So it's very short, very brief, but she's clearly making the point that people are selectively outraged over her dress. So here you go.
This girl here.
All right, Ciara, looking up for the second floor here.
Unbelievable.
Right. So that's that. So she's making a point that, fine, if y'all want to complain about my dress so much, here's what y'all really want, because y'all want to be so outraged. I'm going to cover my whole body and wear a white bed sheet. So clearly some sarcasm inherent in that response, some cynicism in that response, some what's the word I'm looking for? There's another word that I'm looking for to describe that. It'll come to me, but you get the point. So there you go. Dogon, we talked about this a little bit last week. So here it is on the channel. What do you think about her wearing the dress and her claim that people mad about the dress are selectively outraged, and just the whole situation entirely?
I feel like Ciara, as an artist, she's gonna have her excuses, her built-in excuses of why she can act the way that she acts, even though she's married. And so women don't do anything unless they already have a built-in excuse before they do it. And if they have already a built-in excuse, they just go ahead and do it. And then once whatever happens gets revealed, oh, you did this, you talking to who? You weren't treating me right. Blah, 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 blah. It was already a built-in thing on why they're going to do whatever. So in this situation here, I'm an artist. I'm the theme was you barely there. I'm dressed in theme. There's other women who wore dresses just like this. Why select me? So she already had a pre-built in excuse to wear such an outfit. So she can sit on her high horse and point at other people and have a defense to shaming her husband, because that's what she did, in my opinion. And I noticed those other women. Now, Ciara took pictures by herself. Those women may have came with other men, but I noticed that all those women wearing those dresses weren't standing next to their husbands. And the thing is, when this whole Ciara Russell thing got started, people from the rafters were hollering that this don't look right. This is not passing the sniff test. She just finished dealing with the savage of all savages. I mean, he writes anthems to teach other people how to be savages in today's modern era. And she dealt with him and had a child by him. And then now she's going to choir leading, doing lunges in the plane, Russell Wilson. And it didn't feel right. Me personally, before all of this stuff with Russ blew up, and we'll get into that stuff later. But I was a Russ guy. It's a lot of stuff coming around lately, man. It's too much smoke around this guy, to where it's just like, hey, man, I know you're a good dude and all, but you gotta tighten this situation up. But this lady right here, she's doing exactly what she wants to do. She's running all over him. This is her house, not his. And even though she's butt naked, or as Bernie Mac would say, bucket naked, she's still wearing the pants in the house. So how about you, sir? How do you feel about this situation?
Yeah, I'll let you have the Russell angle. Of course, I got my thoughts on it too. I just think that Russell's like Tim Tebow, but he's like the black Tim Tebow to me. And I just kind of feel like guys like that. I feel like guys like that don't get to encounter women of the physical caliber of Ciara. And so when they do get that opportunity, whatever principles they may have, they'll compromise them if it's in the service of making that woman happy. So that's pretty much all I'll say when it comes to Russell Wilson for now, because I'm sure we'll get into Russell Wilson a little more. And that's not even to say that Tim Tebow, because I even think Tim Tebow, to me, in this context, is more respectable than Russell Wilson.
Yeah,
because Tim Tebow ain't trying to get married to nobody like that. I don't see that. I feel like Tim Tebow is a little more principled than Russell Wilson is in that regard. But we'll talk about and Tim Tebow went and he's got his marriage and his family and whatnot, and don't really see this kind of stuff from Tim Tebow's wife, but that's neither here nor there. So the thing that I thought about initially with this situation is I felt tremendous confusion. So I think that it's very ironic that in this social justice climate that we live in, right, we're post Me Too, and we're fully enthralled in this notion of woman empowerment. Ironically, isn't March Women's History Month, I believe. It's all about feminism and respect that is paid unto women, put women in the CEO positions, put women in charge, let women run the show. A lot of people think women are better at running the show than men. That's your opinion if you think that. We're in this time where it's all about gender neutrality. So it's all about equality amongst genders and sexes. View women in totality as their own individual selves, and do not do some of the things that women used to have attached to them, such as sexualization, being over-sexualized, being viewed upon as sexual objects. So the reason why I'm confused now is because I get inundated with messages all the time telling me that it is now my responsibility to always look at women and never think about sex, never think about them as sexual objects, never think about women's sexualization. But while I'm being told these things, I also have to watch Ciara wearing these types of outfits. I don't know what to do. I'm very confused. So I get women empowerment. I understand it. I get it. Women want to make as much money as men. They want to operate in the same, upper tier corporate spaces as men. Women want to be movers and shakers the same way as men. And you know me, if I'm a talk about how racial equality with respect to career opportunities sometimes is overblown, because I do think that at a certain extent in 2023, it really is all about job performance. Then I'm going to apply the same standard when I'm talking about women. I don't really care if it's a woman or not. Personally, if you can do the job, give the woman the CEO job. I don't care if she's smart enough, if she's capable, if she's qualified, if she's competent. I don't give a damn. Give her the job. I don't care. So I don't really care about this idea. I don't really, me personally, I don't see this whole thing about, there being a problem with with affording women those same types of opportunities. I'm all for that. But where I get confused is, hey, don't look at me as a sexual object. Don't think about sex when you look at me. It's not about that. I'm not sexualizing myself. This isn't the world that we live in anymore. Get your misogynistic tendencies. You got to throw that out with the bathwater, because this is a new day and we ain't thinking about that stuff anymore. Okay, that's fine. Well, but let's be consistent and let's match rhetoric with action and behavior. What do you expect me to think about when I look at you wearing a dress like that? Like, I ask you, as a human being, when you see Ciara wearing that outfit, what's the first thing that you think about?
You asking me?
Like, yeah, like, no, like, yeah, like, what are you thinking about when you see her wearing that?
That she's about to launch an OnlyFans.
Yeah, so essentially, you're thinking about sex.
Yeah.
Like, when I see Ciara, and look, Ciara isn't an exception. When I see these other celebrities dressed like that, those other chicks that Zoe Saldana and some of those other ones that were pictured in that article, I'm thinking the same thing. When I see you wearing an outfit where you're showing off your curves and your body and I can see your body, what I'm thinking about is what you look like naked and how much I want to have sex with you. That's what I'm thinking about. Am I being unreasonable at that point? Because that's what comes to my mind. You're naked.
No.
That's what I think about when I see a naked woman. And what's interesting about this is I don't even think men are the only ones thinking about that. Women are probably also looking at them dressed that way and thinking about sex.
Yeah.
Women are also thinking about sex. So what are we doing here? So I'm experiencing tremendous cognitive dissonance with these types of situations, because I'm hearing people scream at me, JV wins, don't look at my hips and my ass and my breasts and my body, and it's about my mind and what I can contribute to society. Don't look at me as a right. Like, don't I'm not a sexual object. That's misogynistic.
Yeah.
We're not doing rap videos in the 90s and the early 2000s anymore. You're being a misogynist. Oh, I'm being a misogynist? But then you can turn around and wear a dress in which I can see your entire body publicly at an event watched by billions of people worldwide. I don't understand it. I'm quite literally confused. I don't know what I'm supposed to do. But I'm gonna tell you this: as long as women, and look, I'm not knocking it. All I'm asking for is consistency. So if you want to keep wearing the dresses, I'm all good. I'm cool with it. I like women. The more I get to see stuff like that, the more I get to see stuff like that, the better. So, I'm not knocking it. Go ahead. You need to fix your lighting.
No, go ahead. Keep on.
So yeah, I'm not knocking it. The more I get to see women dressed like that, the better for me. It's more appealing to my eyes.
Mm-hmm.
But let's be consistent. And at that point, let's tone down some of this, modern SJW feminist rhetoric, in which I am now demonized as a straight male for objectifying women. Because when you dress like that, in my opinion, you are positioning yourself to be objectified. I don't know any other way to cut it. How does anyone look at what Ciara was wearing and say that's not objectification? Is it okay because she's objectifying herself, so therefore she's giving me permission to objectify her because she did it first? Help somebody give me the rules on this. Somebody here in chat, on the video, let me know what the rules are. I'm confused about the rules. I don't know what the deal is, but that's what I experience whenever these situations come about. It's just confusion. I don't know what I'm supposed to be doing here, but as long as I continue to see women with beautiful bodies dressed naked in public, I'm going to continue to, think about them within a sexual context and I'm going to objectify them. And I think that that is the natural reaction. So, you know, it is what it is, but I don't know what you expect. And I think, like I said, on whether it's men or women, I look at that and I think sex. Women are looking at that and they're thinking sex. I don't know what you expect people to do. So
Yeah, I mean, I agree with that. I mean, but when we talked about this before, you know, the double speak that goes on when women speak, you know, and generally not all women, you know, when they're doing their talk, they're talking out of both sides of their mouth, and they're saying they want one thing and clearly they want another. So this is that whole no accountability stuff on roids. Don't blame me, don't shame me for nothing. We need to bring shaming back, everybody. People need to be ridiculed for their actions, so they would think twice before doing them. Not, oh, hey man, I got mine, you got yours. I don't be breathing down your neck. And then when everybody's doing that, it's just chaos. And right now we're just witnessing chaos. I heard too many people come to Ciara's defense about this, you know. But here's the thing. Now we are dealing with entertainers. And so when you're dealing with entertainers, more or less, you're not dealing with people with high integrity. They're willing to do whatever it takes to get on and keep moving to the next level. Things are dry for Ciara. You know, the whole I'm married shtick is getting stale. She wants to be out there in the streets, clearly. And she wants to make some noise because her all my single ladies do wop de doop dop song that she was trying to push, that everybody was like, man, that shit trash. So her attempt to come back musically wasn't really doing anything. There's a lot invested in this, girl. Go out there, bucket naked. We need to strum up some attention around here. Russ, you have to be okay with this.
yeah.
Hey, yeah. I'm a Christian man. I've got values. What about little Future? No, Russ. She needs to do this. And so now Russ, as you see his facial expression there, right? I mean, he looks drained. And as you said, bro, I like the Tim Tebow comp, and I'll play with that. And one thing about Tim Tebow and his evangelical spirit when it came to Christianity, Russ was doing the same shtick in Seattle.
He was.
I'm so committed to this situation, I'm not even going to hit it before we get married. Excuse me, sir? The whole squad done had this. What do you mean? Russ played this quintessential simp in front of the world. And this is what's so gut-wrenching about this situation. For somebody who had, you know, I mean, I just was a fan of his game since NC State. And then, but as of late, things have gotten real wonky. And it's gotten wonky-er, because, you know, there was some smoke before all of this, but it's gotten wonky-er since she's into the picture. And it's just become a disaster of a situation. And he's looking a lot more like a Will Smith. You would say Scottie Pippen. just women that they've selected embarrassing them like this on a grand scale. But he chose to marry an R&B chick. And we're not talking about some sultry, you know, in the leaves, you know, on the beach. This girl here was twerking on cars. So this is what you married, sir. And yes, this comes with the territory of marrying a celebrity. The wild part about this, because everybody liked to talk about Obama and Michelle Obama and what it represented for Black people in a White House. A lot of people were saying, well, at least we got the imagery. And I don't want imagery, but we'll stick to this topic. And the imagery that we're displaying, because we only put celebrities up there in front of everybody to see. So when we see marriage that's supposed to be going the right way, we see a woman clearly disrespecting her husband. So the mindset that's being promoted to the masses, consciously or subconsciously, is, ladies, you can do what you want, even if you have a man.
Yeah.
And that message is seeping in. That when they drop these little droplets of seeds in the soil of which is your brain, it then creates an inception. Now this girl walking around here thinking she can walk out the house. She'll probably create a new shit test for you because of all of this. She never would walk out of the house wearing some goofy stuff like this until Ciara did it. Now she want to walk out of the house a little scantier just to see if you're going to try to check her or not. This is the madness that we're dealing with, with people who consume this stuff with no filters.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why, I tell the people that's close to me all the time, you have to filter this stuff. When all these new screens and stuff, man, if you look at these new screens too much for all these blue lights, you're going to start losing some vision. You need to put some blocks in front of you. And that's just from the screen. Imagine the messages that's coming through and you're not even filtering it. It's coming straight through your brain and it's going out through your actions, Mr. John Morant.
Yep.
So it gets to you. And so this is the part about this little situation that they pulled out here in front of the masses. But enough people check this at the front door. The community, the internet community, I don't know, man. They say it takes a village to raise a child. And right now, the internet village is doing a pretty good job of calling some stuff out lately. And I'm here with them calling out Ciara for looking like this, because you're not going to see anybody else. It's in our community.
Yeah.
And this, you're not going to see anybody else disrespect their husband like this. I don't care if this is Vanity Fair. So yeah, man, this is trash. I don't like it. But Russ, this is what you signed up for. And yeah, man, you get what you get, man.
Yeah, you really do. Yeah. And that's the thing, man. Not everything modern is good. Like we've just swung the pendulum in such an opposite direction in which we're trying to say that there shouldn't be a such thing as standards, rules, and decorum and just codes to follow. We want to eradicate all forms of any kind of code. It's interesting you bring that up because I often talk about the trickle-down effect. Whenever we talk about these types of situations and people kind of think that we're kind of taking it too seriously sometimes. Not everybody. A lot of people tend to kind of understand the point that we're trying to make. But you'll have people who kind of feel like we blowing smoke, just making too much of something that's not a big deal. And I often try to tell people there's a trickle-down effect with a lot of this stuff. And you cannot take for granted how potent the concept of what you just talked about, where a girl might decide to dress more revealing just to kind of shit test her dude. Don't take for granted where she may have gotten that cue from.
Right.
Like these things trickle down. I remember maybe a year or so ago, might have been longer than that, maybe a couple years ago. I was still living in Tallahassee, and I was out at a dance bar. I don't really call it a club. It was more like a bar that had a dance floor with a DJ in it. To me, clubs are different, but it's neither here nor there. It was a place where people came to hang out at night and dance and drink. but I just
Right.
wouldn't consider it a club. But be that as it may, there was this couple that came in throughout the course of the night, black couple, and the guy was wearing regular club stuff, a button shirt, some pants or whatever, and his girl was wearing a dress, and I could see through the dress and I could see her whole body, the whole thing. Like, I could see her whole thing. Now she had pasties covering up her nipples, but I could see everything. I could see.
Where this was at?
Huh?
What's you don't want to name the spot? Where the spot was at?
No, yeah. The name of the place was called Fifth and Thomas. And I'm comfortable. It was at Midtown. And the only reason why I'm comfortable naming it that is because that place is gone now. It doesn't exist. It's a bar with another name now. But this is where it was. And they walked in, and I could see her whole body. Cute girl, nice body.
Hell no.
Yeah, cute girl, nice body, and she was wearing something that was very much like this. And the entire night, because I'm observant, so I'm watching this situation unfold. And the dude looked like he just got finished listening to Fabulous Cuffing Season for 24 straight hours, because he was cuffing the shit out of this girl. He was doing the best job that he possibly could to ensure that she was not getting any attention or getting approached by any other men in this place. And she, meanwhile, was just sitting there, being there. And the thought came across my mind, like, she has to be aware of the fact that this guy is internally, mentally dealing with a tremendous amount of anguish. He's not relaxed. He's too preoccupied with making sure that no one's trying to step to his girl the whole time. So he might have been able to play it off and make it look like he was chilling, but he wasn't. I can tell. This dude wasn't relaxed. She knows this. She just didn't give a shit. She didn't care. Because to her, I do whatever I want. And it's your responsibility as my man to be okay with that. And the problem with this whole thing is, like, and this is one of the things that kind of has been wrought by like social media and stuff like that. But we live in a current culture of extreme coddling and apologizing. And so what we want to create this society in which people can do and say whatever they want. And there's no rules to abide by, no code to abide by. There's no morals, no principles. There's just nothing. Like you said, do you, because I'm doing me. Everybody wants to be able to do and say whatever they want and not get checked. Pretty soon, people are going to be walking around in public naked. And what are they going to be like? Oh, I can do it. It's like, don't check me. Don't stop. Why are you outraged? I'm just naked. Don't be outraged. We're pushing the envelope further and further and further. And it's like, look, man, like I said before, my overarching point is, fine. If y'all want to play this game, this crazy game that y'all want to play, then don't get mad when men respond to those signals and start treating you via objectifying you and sexualizing you and looking upon you as sexual objects. Mm-hmm. You can't have one without the other. That's what's going to happen. So don't come to me with the complaints when you start getting the reaction. That's what's going to happen. Now, if you have an issue with the reaction, how about we instill some of the rules that were never broken to begin with, because they worked. Rules and standards work, people. Like, certain things need to go away because they're antiquated. This ain't one of them. Like, if I see your girl with no clothes on in the club, I'm going to be looking at her. I'm going to look, sir. I'm going to look. Russell Wilson, I'm going to look. I'm going to look. And you're going to get upset with me. How about you get upset and question your woman as to why she would want to wear that with you around in the first place? So it's just weird. Like, we have a society of social anarchists. That's what I've noticed. There's a large portion of our population that believes in and wants to see a world devoid of any kind of rules. They want social anarchy. They want to be able to say and do whatever they want. You can't just say and do whatever you want, people. I'm sorry. You can't just say and do whatever you want. Now, this is a free country, so say and do whatever you want, but there's going to be consequences that come from this type of behavior. It is what it is. So Ciara can talk about selective outrage all she wants. There's consequences associated with dressing like that. Like you said, it would have been interesting to see what the reaction would have been had she had worn that without Russell Wilson around. Maybe it would have been different. I think that's an interesting theory. But nevertheless, this only could have happened with her if he was there, because that's just the way their dynamic works. Unfortunately for him, you know what I'm saying? And it's just like, I would honestly, if it were me, I wouldn't jump down my girl's throat and sort of like dictate to her, you can't dress like this. I would actually want to peer into her mind and get a greater understanding for why she wants to. I would want to sit down with her and be like, why do you think that dressing like this is something that, number one, I'd be okay with, and number two, that you'd want to do, knowing what can come of it when I'm around in the vicinity, and just hear what it is that she has to say. But nevertheless, I don't like it. I don't like the tone, or rather the undertone of social anarchy that it puts forth. I think that this is a dangerous game that we're playing here. I only seeing it becoming more and more pervasive. And I mean, I find it very ironic and somewhat hypocritical. Like, you better not, and God forbid, I'm not wishing this on anybody. I'm not. Please don't get it twisted. I'm not wishing this on anybody. And I'm not necessarily trying to excuse it, but this is how certain things like sexual assault increase in frequency. I mean, there's a lot of weirdos and creepers and crazy men out in the world who don't have control of themselves. I'm not saying that this is excusing their behavior, but the more and more of this that there is going on, there's a correlation between that and the increase in deranged behavior, not just on the part of men, but on the part of everybody.
Right. Basically, like hypersexualization begets hypersexualization.
That's what right.
Yeah.
And so you need to keep these things in mind
Right.
while you go about trying to preach your gospel, encouraging social anarchy.
Right.
So, I just think it's a dangerous game to play, but whatever, right? 2023, everybody get it in. Like you said, I'm doing me, you doing you. So I'm dressing naked. If you want to dress naked, go ahead and dress naked, because I'm not going to judge. If you want to show up to a Lakers game wearing a see-through skirt with no panties on, go ahead and do it, because hey, no rules, everything's fair game. And I don't think that at the end of the day you are going to be appreciative of some of the ancillary byproducts that this type of behavior will have wrought. And there might be situations and scenarios in which you wish that had you had it to do all over again, you would have made a different decision.
Yeah, well, this will be my last set of statements here. There's always been attention whores since the beginning of time, and there will always be attention whores. And this is attention whoring at its finest. All right. Another thing I'll say is that when you were talking about bro bringing old lady to the club, and she out there with nipple pasties in Midtown.
She basically looked just like this, except hers wasn't as long as Ciara's. Hers was shorter. The dress was shorter, but it was basically the same thing.
And for the audience, Midtown is just very basic, dry bar mingling. It's not a major club scene at all. I have no idea why she was wearing that at Midtown. And but be that as me, that woman was feeding from that whole experience. And so this is the last thing I'm gonna say. So there's two types of people in this world when you're dealing with somebody. There's either somebody that's building you up or they're tearing you down. There's nobody neutral. If they're neutral, they're tearing you down. They're only people that's building you up and tearing you down. And so you'll know who you're dealing with from a scenario like the one he just explained from Midtown. And that woman was in this Ciara situation. Look at Ciara's face. Look at Russ's face. Who's feeding off of who? Where's the balance in that image? She's feeding off of this entire experience. So she's tearing him down. So when you're dealing with somebody, you decide to put a ring on that finger, live with that person, be in a relationship with that person. Is that person building you up, or are they distracting you and tearing you down? Are they setting you up in scenarios where you're an emotional wreck? Just like how you said, bro was going through all kinds of emotions that night. He was trying to keep everything. He was looking like Russ in this picture. If somebody took a still shot of him, he would have been looking just like a fool.
He had Bobby Portis eyes. He was out there looking like Bobby Portis. He was out there looking like Bobby Portis, bro. He was like, he was looking for any penis in the vicinity to make sure that he wasn't looking at his girl. And no man wants to deal with that. Men want peace.
That's wild. Shout out to Bobby Portis, man. He's super. But yeah, but just be mindful of that, people. All right. That's romantic or interpersonal. They're either building you up or tearing you down, man. And nowadays, the way that things are set up, the way the direction and life is going, people are getting into vices that are getting weirder and weirder. So you're better off staying away from people who have these vibrations that want to bring you to a certain vibration. And this woman here, we can clearly see if there was a career trajectory, and we see the implant of where Ciara got there, and then we start PFFing Russell Wilson's grades after that. I'm pretty sure there's a steep decline. Now, people can start pointing at other factors, but if he had a strong woman in his corner, he would be fighting through all of that crap and being a better version of himself instead of declining as a man, looking more and more simpish body out. So this whole scenario here just screams that, hey, cautionary tale for everybody watching. If you got somebody that's feeding off of your life energy like this, feeding off of your blood and your essence, drop them. Russ, he it's too late. He married an R&B chick who twerked on cars. Of course she dressing like this. I'm talking about y'all. So be mindful, man. Cautionary tale. Russ, hey, man, you signed up. You signed up for it. This is only going to get worse.
Yeah, this is on you. It's on him. It's on him. I have sympathy for him, but I also don't have too much sympathy for him because women may have access to like sex, but men have access to marriages and relationships.
Yep.
Ciara didn't force him to get married. He wanted to get married to her.
This is
and
him.
Yeah, and it's just, it is what it is. Like, you know, and man, my whole thing is give me some consistency. I don't like cognitive dissonance. Give me some consistency. Don't feed me all of this BS about female empowerment when all of your heroes and heroines rather, and your mascots and your representations are walking around dressed like this. You know, this is the Ciaras of the world, Lori Harveys, all of these other Instagram chicks. Larsa Pippen will dress like this. Gabrielle Union, she dressed like this. You know, and it's just like enough is enough. Enough is enough. Give me some consistency. Seriously. Shouts out to our boy Darrell McCall on the chat. He left a few comments. He said the internet social has been catered to women making money off of men's natural sexual urge. Rules or pimp politics in the public to get what you want. And Black American culture has gone down the drain, and everyone wants blacks to be their mascot for every cause. I don't disagree with any of that.
All facts, bro.
Yeah. All right. Well, keep your head. Stay up, Russell. Stay up. I don't know, man.
Bro.
And on top of that, he playing like shit too. His season was horrible last year.
Good luck, sir. I'm streaming correlation on that. Good luck, sir.
Yeah. Stay up, Russ. Stay up, man.